A blue whale stretches nearly 30 meters long, the largest animal to ever exist. Now, picture it next to a T-Rex, massive and familiar. Erase both of them. In their place, imagine a thin, glowing line drifting through total darkness. No head, no tail, just a ribbon of faint blue light extending farther, until your sense of scale breaks. That line is longer than a blue whale, longer than a megalodon, longer than almost anything that has ever lived on Earth. This is Priadubia, a giant siphonophore, one of the longest creatures on the planet, stretching up to 50 meters. But here's the part that shouldn't make sense. If you tried to grab it, it wouldn't fight back. It wouldn't bite. It wouldn't overpower you. It would tear apart like wet tissue paper. No skeleton, no solid body, no single brain. Nothing that fits our definition of an animal. And yet, in the deep ocean, this fragile glowing thread is a perfectly engineered predator. So how does the ocean's longest giant exist without strength? How can something so enormous be held together by almost nothing? And why does it break every rule we use to define what a living creature is? At first glance, Priadubia looks like a single, impossibly long animal. But this is where reality starts to break. Because Priadubia is not one organism. It is a colony. Every glowing segment along that ribbon of light is its own living being, called a zooid. Each zooid is a clone, produced from a single ancestor, but permanently specialized for one job. Some exist only to swim, others exist only to catch prey. Others digest food, others reproduce. None of them can survive alone. Separated from the colony, a zooid is helpless. Its entire existence only makes sense as part of something larger. Imagine if your arm was a separate individual, your stomach was another, your lungs, your eyes, your legs, all separate organisms, born knowing only one task. They don't think, they don't decide, they simply perform their function perfectly, forever. That is a siphonophore. There is no leader, no central brain, no command center telling the colony what to do. Movement happens because swimming zooids pulse in coordination. Feeding happens because hunting zooids deploy tentacles at the same time. Digestion happens because nutrient-sharing zooids pass energy down the line. Signals travel chemically, not consciously. The entire structure behaves like a single creature, but only because thousands of individuals are cooperating so tightly that individuality disappears. A better way to think of Priadubia isn't as an animal, but as a city. A living city drifting through the deep ocean. Every zooid is a building. Some generate power, some transport resources, some defend the borders, some ensure the city can survive into the future. Or think of it like a train. Each car has a different job. An engine car for movement, a dining car for feeding, cargo cars for storage. But once they're connected, they can never detach. If one fails, the whole system suffers. This is the ultimate hive mind. Not like ants or bees, where individuals can leave or be replaced. Here, every piece is biologically locked into place from birth. Priadubia doesn't just challenge what we think an animal is, it challenges the very idea of the self. In the deep ocean, being an individual is dangerous. Being a colony is survival. Priadubia doesn't hunt the way predators normally do. It doesn't chase, it doesn't ambush, it doesn't even aim. Instead, it unfolds. As the colony drifts through the midnight zone, it slowly releases an enormous curtain of tentacles, so thin they're almost invisible, so long they can stretch tens of meters away from the main body. This isn't movement, it's expansion. The siphonophore becomes a living net, suspended in total darkness. A three-dimensional trap drifting silently through the deep. Each tentacle is lined with millions of microscopic stinging cells called nematocysts. It's the same weapon used by jellyfish, but deployed on a scale that's hard to comprehend. Anything that touches this curtain doesn't get bitten, it doesn't get crushed. It gets paralyzed. Fish, crustaceans, even other gelatinous predators. The moment they make contact, their muscles lock, their nervous systems shut down, they never even see what hit them. And here's what makes it truly unsettling. Priadubia doesn't even know what it's caught. There's no brain checking the net, no eyes scanning for prey, no conscious decision being made. The colony simply drifts, glowing faintly like a ribbon of blue fire, waiting for physics to do the work. When prey becomes tangled, feeding zooids activate automatically. They reel the victim inward, passing it along the colony like cargo on a conveyor belt. Digestion happens in sections, piece by piece, shared across the entire organism. This method is brutally efficient. The colony spends almost no energy hunting. It lets ocean currents spread the trap wider and wider, increasing its chances with every meter. In the pitch-black deep, where chasing prey would waste precious energy, this strategy is perfect. The siphonophore turns empty space itself into a weapon. To anything swimming through the darkness, Praia dubia isn't an animal. It's a bioluminescent minefield, a drifting galaxy of invisible threads. There is no warning, no escape behavior, no chance to learn from the mistake. Most deep-sea creatures never evolve to recognize it as danger. By the time something realizes it's touched the curtain, the decision has already been made. The ocean has already moved on. For something that can stretch longer than a blue whale, Praia dubia is astonishingly fragile. It has no armor, no thick skin, no reinforced core holding it together. Its body is mostly water, held in shape by delicate gelatinous tissue, a structure so finely tuned to the deep ocean that even the smallest disturbance can be catastrophic. This is why Praia dubia is so rarely seen, not because it's rare, but because it breaks. Traditional research nets tear straight through it. Strong currents can shred entire sections of the colony. Even rapid changes in pressure can cause the individual zooids to rupture and fall apart. To us, that fragility looks like a weakness, but in the deep, it is the price of perfection. Praia dubia evolved for a world that is dark, cold, and eternally calm, a place where water barely moves and energy is more precious than gold. Down there, speed is unnecessary, strength is optional. Efficiency is everything. The colony doesn't need to resist force, it avoids force entirely. By being soft, flexible, and almost invisible, it lets the currents flow through it instead of against it. Where rigid animals snap or sink, Praia dubia bends. Where muscle would cost calories, gelatin saves them. This makes it a classic glass cannon. It is overwhelmingly effective at what it does, yet completely unable to survive outside the narrow conditions it evolved for. Bring Praia dubia closer to the surface, and it dies. Expose it to waves, turbulence, or sudden light, and the colony comes apart not dramatically, but quietly, piece by piece. This is why we almost never see intact specimens in museums. Most of what we know comes from brief encounters, fragments, and video footage captured by deep-sea robots. The animal doesn't fossilize, it doesn't preserve, it simply disappears. There's something quietly tragic about that. Praia dubia represents one of the most extreme evolutionary trade-offs on Earth. It sacrificed durability for efficiency, individual strength for collective function, and survivability everywhere for dominance in one single, silent place. Greatness, in this case, does not mean toughness. It means specialization pushed to its absolute limit. The siphonophore is not built to endure change, it is built to thrive in stability. And that makes it powerful, but it also makes it vulnerable. In the deep ocean, Praia dubia is nearly untouchable. Anywhere else, it would never survive at all. Praia dubia forces us to confront a question we rarely ask. What does it mean to be one? In our world, survival is built around individuality. A single body, a single brain, a single will. But in the deep ocean, that idea breaks down. Praia dubia survives not by being stronger or faster, but by abandoning the concept of the individual entirely. There is no I here, only we. Millions of tiny lives give up their independence so the colony can exist at all. No zooid matters on its own, meaning only exists when they act together. In the darkness, individuality is a weakness. A single body can be hunted, but a distributed organism, stretched across tens of meters, is harder to predict and harder to destroy. Praia dubia doesn't dominate the deep ocean by force. It dominates by cooperation taken to its extreme. Evolution doesn't reward strength. It rewards what works. Sometimes that means muscle, sometimes speed, and sometimes it means dissolving the self into something larger. Somewhere in the dark, a ribbon of blue fire drifts silently through the water, held together not by bone or brain, but by total cooperation. If you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe for more stories hidden beneath the surface.